So thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go for a very quick introduction of iManage Tracker, and we'll take you through the demonstration shortly. So today we'll be talking a little bit about Ascertus. I know there's quite a lot of you on the call who are our customers, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the use cases of Tracker and a demonstration. So just a quick introduction, my name is Maggie. I'm one of the account managers here at Ascertus. I'm also joined by my colleague Josh Buchanan, who will be taking you through the iManage Tracker demonstration shortly. I'm just going to quickly turn on my camera just to say hi to those of you who might know me. And also Josh, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. Really excited to walk you through the Tracker experience.
Brilliant. So just a bit of housekeeping before we actually go through the session. If you do have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to enter those questions in the chat box below. There will be some time at the end to talk a little bit about any questions you might have. Now, the whole session should take approximately 20 to 25 minutes, so hopefully we'll be able to cover some of the information. So I'm not going to go into too much details about our experience, but essentially we just really wanted to talk a little bit about, what we actually do if you're not aware already. So I'm not going to go through all the solutions we provide, but we just really wanted to let you know that we do have solutions around contract lifecycle management, e-billing, digital signatures, as you can see some of the partners that we work with. But as a consultancy company, we just really wanted to let you know that we are agnostic, so we do the due diligence on the best solutions in the market so that we can really better advise you as a customer on the best of breed solutions in the market, such as iManage, and also specifically your current requirements. So if there is anything that any requirements that you have at the moment, please feel free to speak to your account managers and we'll be able to take you through some of the things that you might want to discuss in a bit more detail. So today we're just going to go for a very quick introduction of Tracker. So iManage Tracker is a project-centric task and checklist management tool. Now, many of our customers have task management tools that sit outside of iManage. So things like Microsoft Planner or maybe Jira, or even just a manual spreadsheet just to keep track of these tasks. Now with Tracker, users can now organize these tasks and content and really improve the visibility and reduce risk by having it all straight within iManage, which is the platform that hopefully you will be using every day. Now, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the use cases that we see in the market. So one of the things that we see quite a lot is around supporting remote teams. So, for example, you might have people that joined during COVID, or maybe you have team members that you've not spoken to, or new users. They might not really be familiar with your firm or your company's processes. So it's really important to actually have these tasks to be able to lead them from a matter lifecycle perspective on what tasks that they need to do. So for example, from a corporate setting, you might have a document that you take from drafts all the way to execution. Having those tasks will be able to let them know which people they have to contact. For example, finance, for approvals, and procurement to know the legal entity details. And of course, from a law firm perspective, again, if you have new starters, you'll be able to see, what has actually been going through in your law firm, what kind of processes you have to go through. And this also leads on to kind of another use case, which is delegating these tasks to a user or a group of people. So it's all well and good to keep track of your own tasks, but also it's really important to be able to see, if there is, someone is busy, we can actually really delegate this task to someone else in the team. Or some of my customers also will delegate it to a group, and you might have an administrator will then look at people's diaries to see who can actually fit this piece of task in their diaries as well. And as you all probably are filing email every day, Tracker also has the capability of turning an email into a task in just a single click. So you can just drag and drop that email into your Outlook, And not only does it file the email, it also creates a task. So you can really quickly start, putting these tasks together, because as we all know, in Outlook, we do receive a lot of maybe ad hoc tasks that might not be, matter related, or maybe you just want to be able to keep track of those. Then having that ability to file an email and also create a task is quite useful and time saving. So Josh will show you that very shortly. And also finally, being able to reuse these tasks. So a lot of the time, if you do have some complex matters, for example, at M&A, you might have, quite a lot of processes that you have to follow through. Being able to replicate these tasks would be very important, so that you don't have to, do that every single time you're creating a matter. And for law firms, for example, if you have like conveyancing or maybe certain process-driven, matters, you can actually replicate this into each matter. So again, having that ability to not having to create them all the time. So Josh will also kind of show you a little bit about how we can actually, repeat these tasks, how we can actually copy these tasks from, other areas. So, before I hand over to Josh, if you have any questions on what we've discussed, please feel free to leave it below. But I will hand it over to Josh for the demonstration.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Really great to see you all on the session. And thank you, Maggie, for the brief introduction there. I want to just really take this opportunity to echo Maggie's comments, just to expand on the concept behind Tracker and why iManage have created Tracker. And then what we'll do is we'll walk you through a presentation of some of the key features and functionalities that can allow you to simplify how you manage your processes internally. So iManage Tracker is iManage's latest product offering. It is their dedicated task and deadline management solution. It maintains the same matter or project-centric structure that you're familiar with in iManage Work. And it allows teams to implement a more structured, more organized way of managing their internal processes and any internal review or approval processes, and ensure any critical deadlines, expiration, renewal dates are met, to really protect the business and to empower your users to heighten collaboration and actually allow teams to work more productively. So, the idea is, since the sort of shift to hybrid, remote, more flexible ways of working, it's become much more challenging to collaborate with colleagues. You're no longer sat beside one another, and to actually get an answer out of someone, you need to drop them a message on Teams or Slack, or give them a quick call or drop them an email. And it's quite a convoluted process. Something that should be easily accessible is quite reliant on these communication platforms. And oftentimes, correspondence is floating around all over the place, and there's no centralization. So what we're trying to do is actually simplify that process, ensure you've got one dedicated tool that allows you to actually manage all of your tasks, all of the actions that are currently being completed by the team in relation to your projects or matters. So Tracker is very deeply integrated within iManage Work 10. So the idea here is that we can access iManage Tracker here within the Tasks tab of the navigational menu without needing to leave the iManage platform. And we're also very closely integrated within Outlook here as well. So the idea is you've got your work panel on the right hand side. So those of you that are using iManage Work 10 will be very familiar with this experience, where you can actually search through the database, access and share content with the team. But you'll also see here we've got the dedicated iManage Tracker tab beside this now as well, to really heighten that experience. So we're going to start off within the web interface here, simply because we've got a slightly larger screen real estate. It's a little bit easier to visualize, but I want to just guide you through some of the key functions and how we can actually work within Tracker. So what we can do here is we can see all of our tasks, again, organized by matter. So everything you see here is configurable. So I can actually choose how I want this to be visualized. So I can see all of my tasks by matter, my tasks by due date. I can see all of my completed tasks as well. Or I can actually even access others' tasks within the team as well. So again, to really sort of heighten that sense of collaboration, if I'm waiting for Ben or Maggie to actually action a contract review internally, No longer do I need to drop them a message. I can just go ahead and see exactly where that is today within iManage Tracker. So really just simplifying those internal processes there. Now, selecting a task here, on the right-hand side, you'll see a little bit more information in relation to that task. So similar to the properties tab within iManage Work, you can see here the name of that task, who it's assigned to, the due date if one has been configured, and you can actually see the associated document or email alongside this as well, which is really, really quite useful. Now we can quite simply create new tasks by selecting the add tasks option here on the right hand side, and I can go ahead and give this a brief name. So we can say, contract review perhaps, and you'll see it's got that same sense of matter centricity, so it's automatically assigning it to the same matter here that we're working in Tracker. But I can go ahead and change this if I wish to do so. So I can see all of my favorite matters here are easily accessible, and I can choose where this should be associated in the system. Now I can assign this to an individual. So I'm actually logged in as my Visa account today, so it's automatically assigned to myself, but I can go ahead and actually assign this to someone else. So perhaps I want to assign this to Raj within the team. I can go ahead and select Raj. We can give this a due date. Perhaps I need this by next week. And again, here you can associate that particular file or document. So I can select the agreement here, and I can go ahead and grab that draft agreement that I want Raj to review. Now we can give this a status. So, perhaps this is to do, it's on Raj's to-do list, and I can give this a brief sort of summative description. What is the purpose of this review? So I can say to Raj, review clause 2 needs reviewing, as an example. Once I'm happy with that, go ahead and hit confirm. That will then create that task. It will assign that to Raj, and he'll then be notified that a task has been added to his queue. So really, really easy to go ahead and create those. So I want to walk you through now our matter tracker experience. So this just allows us to visualize all of our tracker lists that exist in association with the matters or projects that we have in our platform. So here you can see these filtered by your recent projects, your projects, or you can access all of your favorites here as well. And I can see here any projects that I've got a tracker in association, or I can simply create a tracker if one doesn't already exist. But I want to walk you through one that the team and I have created earlier. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Intruber Law task list here. So what you'll see here is a nice visualization of essentially the internal process that needs to be completed in order for us to actually action and then close this matter. So this is essentially the life cycle that the team and I will follow. So you'll see here, the key information, so the name of the task, who those are assigned to, due dates, and the status here. And what's quite nice about the status is it's actually color coded. So you'll see here anything that's to do is red. Perhaps this is now in progress, let's say, and that'll then mark it as yellow. And we can leave any notes or comments besides, so the team can clearly see where each of those tasks currently resides, which is really, really useful. Now, what we can also do is you'll notice that some of these are actually indented here. So we can actually create tasks and subtasks. So you can actually configure this truly however you wish. You can also actually create custom fields here as well. So you can actually add here, say, what's the priority of the task? Is it high, medium, low? So you can truly design this however you wish. Now, what we can also do at this stage is I can actually go ahead and reassign a task. So let's say I'm too busy and I want to delegate this to somebody else. So I can go ahead and actually choose this particular task that's currently assigned to myself. And perhaps now I want Raj to pick this up. So I can go ahead and actually assign this to Raj, and you'll see that the task is due soon. Do I want to notify Raj via email? And I can go ahead and actually choose to do so. So you've got that sort of notification mechanism in the background, all of which are channeled through via email. So we'll drop Raj a quick email just to notify him that something has been assigned to his queue there. What's also quite useful is that you don't simply have to assign these to an individual. You can actually assign these to entire groups here as well. So you'll see here all of the individuals that are actually collaboratively accessing this particular tracker list, but I can go ahead and actually assign this to an entire group. So obviously we've got that close integration with your Active Directory environment, which is present across the iManage Work platform. But if we go ahead and search for, let's say, the litigation team as an example, I can actually assign this to an entire group. So in that instance, the team can collectively decide who has the bandwidth to actually pick up this particular task, which is really, really useful. So that's a quick look through how we can manage the assignees and who is actually actioning those tasks there. A couple of other things that I want to just briefly walk you through. So we do have a couple more options here. So what we can essentially do is we can follow these tracker lists. So you'll see here, I'm actually following this tracker. What that means is any changes or amendments to this particular tracker, I will automatically be notified via email to actually prompt me that a change or progress has been made, which is really, really quite useful. What we can also do here is we can actually go ahead and either create tasks in the top right as we did before, or we can actually import a task list. So essentially this allows us to actually simplify processes and actually create more structure around particular processes. So here, if you have a particular a tracker checklist that you've created previously, perhaps it's in association to another contract specific matter, you can just repurpose that and reuse it within this particular tracker list here. So I can simply import from an existing tracker checklist, or I can actually select the recommended option here, which allows me to copy and paste a checklist from a bullet point or table within Word, Excel, Outlook, OneNote, whatever tool it may be. So I feel like a bit like a TV chef here, but here is one that I've created earlier. So I've just built out a checklist here within Excel itself. So I can just simply go ahead and actually copy this, and I can paste this into Tracker here. So we can go ahead and actually import this here, and essentially I just have to go ahead and map these fields. So the first column will be the task itself, the second will be the assignee. I want all of these to be assigned to Raj. Sorry, Raj, he's going to be pretty busy after all this. And here we can then go ahead and mark the due date as well. So if I'm happy with that, I can simply hit import, and the system will simply add those to the very bottom of the list here, and actually allow for a much more automated, structured way of maintaining those tasks. Really, really useful. So that's a quick look through how we can actually leverage task lists to actually simplify things, and the idea that you don't need to manually create tasks each and every time. You can just build out a standardized list, drop those in, and repurpose those. What's really quite useful here is it's not only a powerful tool for teams to visualize where matters currently reside, but it's a really, really useful tool for any new joiners as well. So the idea that, you know, if the team is continuously growing and you're taking on new individuals, particularly again with that sense of remote working, it can be quite challenging for those members to get up to speed, to understand how the business operates internally. And again, often, you know, you're finding yourself having to bother colleagues, drop them a message and identify, you know, what happens next. But here, everyone understands the process. It couldn't be clearer. They just simply follow the process here internally. Once something has been completed, we can just go ahead and mark that as done, and that will then go ahead and label it as green, and you'll see that the task itself will just grey out there as well. So it will remain present, but we can see that it has been completed, which is really, really quite useful. Okay, a couple of other things that we can do at this stage. So let's say we've got a task here. We can, as I said again, we can manage those indentations, so we can actually define subtasks here if needs be. We can actually send an email to the team, and we can actually initiate a thread, conversational thread around this particular task to get a sense of what's going on if we want to delve in a little bit deeper. We can also see the timeline here of this particular task itself. So the idea is that you've got that complete audit trail, similar to the experience that you're used to within iManage work. Everything is documented, so we can actually see at a glance who's accessed this tracker, and we can see, you know, where that currently resides today, which is really, really quite useful. And then you've got a couple other options. You can see the properties and actually delve in a little bit deeper there as well, which is quite useful. Okay, so that is a quick look through the iManage tracker experience within the web. Obviously, a couple other functions. You can search through this information here. So the idea that you've got that same sense of searchability that you're used to within iManage work. And obviously, all the views that you see here are configurable as well. Now, a couple of different things that I want to walk you through in the Outlook experience here. So as I said before, that very close integration with an Outlook, and the iManage tracker function just sits beside the iManage work panel here. So you can see everything we just did a moment ago there on the web can be achieved within Outlook. It's just a slightly smaller screen real estate. So I can see here again all of my trackers. I can define how this is visualized, and we can go ahead and actually delve in a little bit deeper. I can search through the entire system here, and I can create new tasks from this page here as well. Now, one function I did want to just walk you through is actually how we can simultaneously file away an email while also creating a task here as well. So the idea is that, again, those that have used iManage before that are working on iManage today will be very familiar with the process of filing away your email correspondence to ensure that is accessible, it's saved away into the central system, and the team can then collaborate on that communication. So what we can actually do is we can simultaneously file an email and also create a task on the back of that as well. So I've got an email here. If I want to go ahead and just drag and drop this into Tracker, I can drop it onto the particular project here, and we'll see the filing status will pop up, and it will go ahead and file that away into the system. And what it will also do is it will actually create a task here. So you'll see it's actually created this task, and it's actually automatically pre-populated some information here for me. So it will pull the subject's line as the name of the task itself, and it will be automatically assigned to myself. Again, I can delegate this if needs be. I can go ahead and set a due date, so we can say this is due a week from today, let's say, and I can start filling in some more information. Here I can label the priority as well. So this is priority 1, which is highly important. And essentially, that's as easy as it is to actually file away an email and simultaneously create a task there on the back of that as well. Now, one final thing is essentially how we can manage these notifications and actually keep up to date with any updates or amendments across the team. So the idea is that, again, if you do subscribe to any of those trackers in iManage Tracker, you will actually receive an email here, a daily report, actually identifying any progress that's been made and where those trackers are residing today. So I can see here a nice visualization of all of my tasks that I need to complete and the due date there, just to make sure that I'm keeping on top of things. And I can see there anything that's been assigned by me, and I can just see at a glance where those are currently residing today. Any important projects or matters that I'm working across, I can see here again a quick glance of all of the statuses of those particular tasks there as well. So really nice to have that sort of visualization, and again, all managed here through Outlook, which is really quite useful. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to walk you through today in terms of the iManage Tracker experience. So I'll go ahead and pass over to Maggie now. We can walk you through Q&A. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Josh. So we've kind of gone through the end of the demonstration, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat box below. I can see that there is a couple of questions, Josh. So the first question we have is, how long does it take to implement?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and it's really the beauty of Tracker itself is that it's really easy to implement. It is cloud-based, so it's something that we can just toggle on in the background. Obviously, as part of that implementation, there is sort of a changing and change management process. So obviously, we'll sort of walk you through that training exercise. But yeah, it's very, very easy to implement.
Brilliant. And I think the second question is, how is Tracker licensed?
Yeah, so it is licensed on a per user basis, so the same as your iManage work environment there. So it's a very cost-effective solution. Obviously, if you do want to find out a little bit more with regards to commercials there, feel free to reach out to your Ascertus account manager, and they can certainly help you there in terms of providing costings.
Brilliant. And I think we only have a last question, which is, what does the IT team need to prepare?
Yeah, another really good question. So again, really not too much involvement from IT. Everything is sort of managed there as part of the cloud platform. It's more so, I suppose, a process of identifying the internal structure of your tasks and actually sort of how those should be presented within Tracker. But again, obviously, that's something that we can certainly assist with in terms of the implementation. So not too much there for your IT team to worry about at all.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks, Josh. So if you do have any further questions, please feel free to contact your account manager, and you should be receiving a recording of this demonstration today, later today. And just before you go, we also have a next session coming up next month. As some of you who might have attended the last few sessions, we do host different sessions every month. So if you are able to join our next session around Adobe Sign integration, that would be great. So we look forward to seeing you in our next session, and we hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.